She is in Iowa City.
Iowa City.
Oh, this is a little low, if I'm being honest.
Iowa City, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Iowa City, Iowa.
Yes.
I don't normally hear you talk about her, so.
It's because I try not to talk about her on the podcast, and it's mainly because I don't want to upset her because we just started talking not too long ago again.
Okay.
I don't know if it was my fault on something that happened or if it was just trying to get away from this side of the family. But yeah,
So dialogue has started up again.
yeah.
Cool.
So we're chatting, we're having a conversation here and there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. I was not aware that you.
Well, now we are.
Now
Now we are.
Yeah. Now we are.
I like it.
It's taken a while, but
That's fair. I just started talking to my sister, so that's fair.
you just started? Mm-hmm. Well, that's because you just met her, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You have a sister.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When did you? When did
Half sister, technically.
half sister?
Yeah. Yep.
And you just found her? Found out?
Yeah.
Did she find you or you find her?
No, I did one of those 23andMe things,
Oh, yeah.
and we have the half amount of alleles matching, so same father, different moms.
You didn't need that anyways.
Oh, what happened with L?
That cover for the cables.
Oh, I was like, what was that? Are we?
We are going.
Hey, hello everyone. Lane, are you over there?
Yeah, I'm here,
Oh,
but I'm
okay.
getting up for a second.
Oh, okay. Welcome. This is the Daily Torch. Is this episode 55? Am
This
I right?
is episode 55.
Episode 55. Look at us.
It's amazing that we're making it this
We're
far.
cruising right along.
Does that mean we've been doing this for over a year?
Yes, we are more than a year now, but a year and a month.
Okay.
Because it's March now, so about a year and a month.
Yeah, I mean, if we've done one once a week,
There's 26 weeks.
I'm pretty
In a
sure.
year.
no, it's 52 weeks per year.
52.
We missed some
weeks.
weeks early on.
I'm
Yeah, we
thinking paychecks.
missed a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we did.
Yes, there's 26 paychecks. Good. That's very good, Kevin.
I know that much.
At least we know where your priorities are.
Well, they kind of have to be right now. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. What's up? I mean,
So it is out there. So, I mean, I don't really have to worry about it too much. But camp is struggling a bit. If you looked at the article, it said 1.2 mil in the hole.
oh, in the
So,
hole.
yeah.
Oh, it's
Okay.
like a deficit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're a deficit at that. And so they're saying that they are trying not to lay people off, but it's one of those things that it still could happen. And they said it's a make or break kind of year. So it's like
Oh.
either we figure it out or that camp's no longer there.
Well, that article, it sounded like they had plans.
They're trying to have plans. Sheriff Coverly and the mayor, well, mainly the Coverly is like for the camp saying that we need it because it does do a lot for the kids, the residents.
So is it only funded through Douglas County, or is it funded through a couple of counties? Because don't you have kids coming from Reno, or is it state funded?
We get it from everywhere. So we get a state grant every
Okay.
once in a while, and then the counties are supposed to be pitching in. I just don't think that they have been,
Okay.
or anybody's been keeping up on it either.
I wonder if it actually would be less of an expense, or if there would be less of an overage if Reno pulled out.
I mean, that would take the kids out of the equation from Reno, but it would still.
I think you're misunderstanding the funding model, Will.
Yeah.
They get paid by being full.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we
Okay.
have
Yeah.
our max numbers 40 and 20, then we're making that money. And then if we're getting our classes done for Medicaid purposes, which we do a lot of mental health classes and all that,
Right.
that would also help because those are billable, but we haven't been able to. So it's one of those things.
I mean, I know a guy you guys could hire as a consultant to figure out your funding problem. Turns out he did it for a profession for 30 some odd years.
Dad?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be somebody that I would pick.
I don't think the
But
state
he'd
could
have to
afford your
apply.
dad.
Would your dad actually think? I mean, do you think that's something your dad would even entertain doing?
No idea.
I mean, if
Oh,
you,
no
but I mean-
idea. Okay.
Funding projects for, like, I don't know what you'd call it, youth camps. like graduate houses, depending on what program you're part of. That's what he did.
Yeah.
We are a
Okay.
treatment facility, not really a detention facility, a treatment facility.
A treatment
Which is
facility.
a battle he fought for his entire career and mostly lost. But when he won, was value to it.
Damn, see?
Seriously, the treatment versus bars thing is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Rehab versus just plain up jail. It's a losing battle most of the time.
Yeah, because one's cheaper than the other.
Yeah, for sure. Is there supposed to be a sheet? Do we have?
No.
No,
No.
Sheets.
notes didn't get filled
I,
out, but
yeah, I didn't type them up. I'm sorry.
I was thinking that we were going to just talk about the same things that we talked about on our group.
Do I have a bottle of whiskey and no whiskey?
Casey, did you not give him a...
I told you to pour it.
I
Kevin.
did.
Oh, where is it?
Look back
Behind
there.
you?
Is it still
Oh.
on the counter?
Hang on.
That's on both me and Casey. But we didn't think you had a hard enough day, so you didn't need the whiskey. You just needed the bottle.
What's that?
He's going to go check the back to see if I left it back there, which it should be on the bench if I did.
I'm looking at this fucking Taylor on my table and is like,
What-
wait a minute.
I just figured you
there's
drank it
something missing
already.
here.
Where's my Glen?
There's something missing here. I just hit off the top of the bottle.
I could have sworn I poured it. Unless that's it in front of me.
Who's JDK Jenkins?
The wife.
That's one of your people for sure.
Yeah, she's disappointed in
Who?
something or
Me,
another.
you? What did I
Probably
do?
me. Probably my work.
Isn't it mostly Kevin?
No. You guys both had like a weird interaction, which is always funny to me when I think about it.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy.
I'm not crazy.
Crazy.
What? What? Your wife
Yeah,
treating Wayne like a Jehovah's Witness?
he kind of was. You guys just showed up. It's the biggest guy stepped out of the car.
Do you have a moment to speak about the kingdom of Cthulhu?
Right?
She was like, "Get the fuck off my lawn, you sons of bitches!"
Good times.
So what link did I miss out on?
So there was like two of them that I looked at. I sent one. Lane sent two. One for a podcast on
Spotify.
Spotify, and the other one was the notes on the bump stock, which was interesting.
Yes. It's not that interesting.
It was interesting in the fact that you're listening to a bunch of people that don't know anything about weapons talk about weapons.
Yeah, that's true. I would have liked
what
it.
YouTube is
We
for.
can talk about it. If you guys want to talk about it, we can. But yeah, I felt it. Or I felt it on my hand.
Yeah.
It's just not that interesting.
Like I said, it was fun for me because I'm listening to him like, I don't think they're understanding what this guy's saying. This guy, I'm understanding what he's saying, but
Well, I don't think there were the attorney for Cargill. There are some problems, right? So for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, the Supreme Court heard arguments against banning bump stocks under executive action as a sort of sub provision of the NFA, like as the same provision that bans fully automatic weapons.
yes.
This is not a constitutional question concerning the Second Amendment. It's a constitutional question concerning the Eighth Amendment, whatever amendment interpretation falls under, and like delegable authority.
And that's for fully automatic weapons or machine guns, essentially.
Well, so here's the thing, right? Bump stocks. So Trump wanted to be like this shining knight, do the thing. They easily, after Vegas, could have banned bump stocks through legislation. Now, that still would have had to pass constitutional muster. I think it would, right? So I think if they changed the NFA through legislation, which they could have at the time, and said, bump stocks mimic fully automatic weapons as near as makes no difference, and because those are abnormally dangerous, they qualify as something that we can prohibit under the Second Amendment, and they're banned, right?
Nice and easy.
Because the definition that they're operating off of is an agreement that Congress or a law that Congress passed describing exactly what a machine gun is.
Yes, the NFA.
Yeah.
It was-
is that the
I believe it's the NFA.
He
The
gets
National Firearms Act.
something about functional trigger.
Yeah. So the statute reads Like the ban is on weapons that fire more than one round through a single function of the trigger. That's the functional language of the statute. So, like, I will say the attorney for the government did a fantastic job trying to expand the definition of function. He pulled in all the different statutory interpretation canons. He did an excellent job. And so here's the problem, is that all of the justices want bump stocks to be illegal.
Right.
First of all, they should be. It's a trash piece of equipment. I don't care what anybody says. It's garbage. They work, but they just don't accomplish anything, right? Like, it's novel, but there's no reason to have them. They're not more accurate. They're not. Oh, Will's gonna argue with me now. What do you got, Will?
Well, I remember Will talking about wanting something similar.
Hold on, Will. Do you
at
have a
some
bump
point.
stock?
No.
So
Do you have a bump stock?
no,
All right then, don't talk.
but the original reason that they were created was so the handicapped could handle.
That's
No,
not-
that
What's
was an
that?
argument, though.
No, that's
They
What is
did use
that?
that as an argument, but it wasn't because it was meant for them.
Yeah,
They
he
said
sort
it
of-
could help.
He sort of like leveraged in there for no reason.
Yeah.
But the new bump stocks wouldn't help them do that.
No.
The way that they have to apply pressure, that's the forearm brace.
yeah, the forearm brace.
On SBRs. So you take an
oh,
SBR and you put a forearm brace with
Two
a
different
strap
things.
that holds against your forearm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, a bump stock is something, the original bump stock, which is the something accelerator, would get up to a standard full auto rate of a machine, of like an M16, right? Like 750, 800 rounds a minute. The
Yeah.
bump stocks now are a little bit slower. They're like 450
500.
to 550 rounds a minute.
Right.
Way less accurate. You have to apply pressure in multiple directions. They're awkward as shit.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
you-
I was confused on
you
what,
really have
what
to
I
fight
was
it.
talking about. Where we talk, I thought.
No,
when
bump
we-
stock is a
when
way
we were
to
talking
turn
about- when we were talking about bump stock, I was thinking
SBRs.
The brace.
Well,
Pistol
yeah,
brace.
the brace,
Pistol
the
Yeah.
pistol brace.
Yeah.
No, bump stock is a way of making a semi-automatic rifle a
Yeah.
fully automatic rifle.
Yeah,
As near as makes
Well-
no difference.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they mimic it well enough, which is why I think banning them would pass constitutional muster. But that's not what this is about. This is about interpretation. So Trump was like, we're not doing legislation, executive action, bump stocks are banned. And everyone's like, you can't do that. Bump stocks don't fall, especially the manual bump stocks. And there's a bunch of nuance here that comes into play. The manual bump stocks that Cargill had in his store, I don't know if he made them or if he sold them in his store, one or the other, are manual. So you have to press out on, so the forearm piece has got a slide on it, and you have to press against it while pulling against the weapon. And once you pull the trigger, you never have to move your finger because the movement of the weapon in this sliding piece that you're pushing forward on moves the gun around the trigger, basically, right?
It's like making it that train motion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But because this guy works for a company who represents a specific bump stock, he makes a bunch of arguments that throw under the bus forced reset triggers, mechanical bump stocks, which was the original, a bunch of shit. So it becomes super narrow. It throws all these other things under the bus. He represents the worst product, and that's the one that made it to the Supreme Court. So then the Supreme Court asks all these questions, like what is function? What is a pull of the trigger? And then they go through this black box scenario, like the attorney for Cargill, who's either the store or the producer, I don't know which, can't differentiate between an extension of a trigger and a secondary pressure applied around a trigger, right? So they're like, if you have a black box with a button on it and you push it, and
You have another black
like-
box with a button on it, but you keep your finger close to it. Every time it jumps up and touches your finger, it fires.
but
That was
the bump stock is not part of the trigger because the bump stock by itself cannot fire the gun. The bump stock by itself doesn't really do anything.
So,
Right.
yeah. So in regards to the oral arguments,
Every justice on that panel wanted them to be illegal.
right.
And
So-
they were all like, why couldn't they have just passed legislation? We never would have had to look at this case. They were annoyed that it was there.
Yeah.
So from what I hear, and I don't know if it was on Copper Jacket or if it was on the Four Boxes Diner, but I think it was Four Boxes Diner. He was saying that the government attorney even commented on the fact that this is not a Second Amendment issue.
Yes, it's not a Second Amendment issue.
Yeah. Which was like, okay, so we're worried about this because why?
Because there's about 12 people out there that desperately want bump stocks to be legal.
And they're illegal already. Yeah.
And yet one of them is a twit.
12
800 rounds a second.
A minute.
a minute.
No, I
A minute.
understand that, but in that
argument,
in
she
the reading,
said second.
in the reading of the arguments of the oral arguments.
Oh yeah.
She is 800 a second or whatever.
They had, yeah,
and
they
I'm
had
like,
to correct
or
it.
whatever.
Well, the liberal justices weren't even hiding the fact that they wanted them to be illegal.
Yeah, but they were exemplifying the fact of twitness and ineptitude.
No, they don't understand the mechanism, right?
They don't. Well,
But this is the problem with the Supreme Court in a lot of instances, is they don't understand the thing. They understand the law around the thing, but sometimes the minutia goes deep enough that you have to understand the thing itself. And they don't understand the thing itself. This is why they quote Delaware in business cases, because Delaware understands business transactions better than the Supreme Court. Period.
So out of curiosity, would it be feasible to kind of like send them out there on a range and try out?
No, that's not what they do.
No.
It wouldn't be proper.
They'll send somebody.
I mean,
It wouldn't
Well,
be-
they're not allowed to add evidence to the record.
got it.
or
but I mean, it give them knowledge of what it is and how it works at that point.
I mean, they can accept like amicus briefs, like friends of the court briefs.
Okay.
But they're not going to go out. You don't produce evidence in a Supreme Court hearing.
Right.
In other words,
You don't
they can't go out and get their own experience.
Well, they can, but they wouldn't be able to apply it to the case, like directly, right? Like they can go out and do it and research it, but you can't admit it as evidentiary in the case itself because
get
you're
it.
not admitting new evidence in an appeal.
Now I get it.
Okay.
Okay. So
That would have to be during
if
like,
they had had
discovery.
experience prior to this showing up on their desk, it would still be the same thing.
But it's weird. They're going to try and find some way to ban them.
I thought they were already banned.
6-3. Well, to keep the ban
Going. Got it.
illegal. 5-4-6-3 is my guess. To
So-
keep them to uphold the ban on bump stocks, and they'll find some reason to do it.
So is this an NFA issue?
Yes,
Okay.
it's an interpretation of the NFA issue.
Ah.
It's specifically an interpretation of function of the trigger, because they didn't use pull. They didn't use, like, because of the language they used, they thought they were being specific, and turns out with new technology they were being overly broad and non-specific.
Yes. Yes. I can see that.
Okay, I want to make a guess.
All right, go ahead, Kevin. What do you
Is
got?
it the Mikudera red?
Nope. Try again.
I don't even know what that
It's a
cigar
square
is.
press.
Yes.
Oh, did he take the bands off?
I took
Yes.
the bands off and put them in coffins, boys. Y'all
Which-
have a mystery cigar.
Which one is the surprise cigar?
The burned one.
The burnt box
Yeah.
is
Okay.
the mystery science theater box.
Okay.
So mine has a lot of pepper in it,
Okay.
and it's a square press.
Yep.
There's a slight undertone of creamy in there.
All right. All those are very good.
I know,
That's
and
very
I'm
good.
like
You're
trying to
getting there.
figure out which one it is off of those notes.
I like that.
I know it's not. We don't have any, so
Hmm.
it's not the My Father until it's Maduro.
No, because that's a Toro. So that's a bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every,
Keep guessing.
I'm gonna keep
Can
Will,
I
going.
take a guess just from looking at it?
Sure.
Will, yours is you won't guess, but you will enjoy it.
We
there's a-
think.
There's
think.
a
Yes.
pigtail on it.
it's got a pigtail on it.
Yes, it does.
All right, what's your guess on this?
Can I guess on his,
You,
Casey?
you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm not going to do it yet.
Okay.
There's a reason for that.
Can I do it? Can I do it? No, I'm not going to do it.
Is that because
No, because something occurred to me that I don't want to. I'll wait. I should pull mine out and look at it.
you
Please.
want to see if you can
Yours-
identify it by the look?
Yours is a little snug, but it should come out fairly easy.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys want to talk about bump stocks? I think we covered it.
No, we
Yeah,
don't.
I mean, we
in its
covered it
entirety.
right there. The biggest thing that I got out of there that was interesting was the fact that they kept arguing about the trigger and what.
Oh well, that's what they're gonna do.
This
What-
is the one
what that
problem
word
I had,
means.
and I don't care if bump stocks are illegal or not. I don't. This is an interpretive issue that is very narrow. It's going to apply to one thing, and it's not about overreach and ambiguity. If they interpret it, they're going to say it's not ambiguous. It applies to this thing, right? So they properly acted. It won't expand the power of the ATF.
Well, yeah.
It's going to live within the same box. They're just going to reinterpret this one provision. That's it. The one thing that got me when he's like, we have to press down both buttons to fire. okay, so both buttons are the trigger. One of them won't do it by themselves. And he couldn't explain the difference between that and a bump stock. Well, the difference between that and a bump stock is you don't need the bump stock to fire, and
Yeah.
the bump stock can't fire on its own.
He did try saying that, though.
Yeah, but he was terrible at it.
Yes.
So
It's one is a separate force applied to a sufficient trigger, and the other is two components to create a sufficient trigger.
So I'm curious. So you know how the Gatling gun was made originally? A bunch of rifles welded together, and they put it on a turn.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
it hit.
it's a
So
crank.
would that still count as?
Yes, because a rotating mechanism can become the trigger itself, right? So that's an extension of the trigger that creates. I mean, it's not technically one pole, but it's a continuous pole.
That's what I was thinking.
So I think that probably qualifies.
Because then that then becomes the trigger itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rotation.
Well, because you can also, if you take an automated mechanism that just slaps the trigger a bunch of times and ends up firing it really fast, that's properly banned on the NFA. That was solved 35 years ago or something. Because the slapping mechanism, you only have to operate it once. You push a button on that, and even though the trigger's getting pulled a bunch of times, you only did one thing.
And you created a trigger yourself. At
Yeah,
that
so
point.
that becomes an extension of the trigger, not a separate force applied to the weapon independent of the trigger.
Got it.
Right? There's a difference.
Yeah.
And the attorney for Cargill was unable to use the language to describe that to the court. Now, conveniently, I don't care that much.
Well, yeah.
Because this is one of the few gun issues I just don't give a shit about.
Because it's stupid.
Because they're dumb.
And you can make it
Yes.
with a 3D printer,
They,
apparently.
they are good
That's
in
that's
one
ghost gun.
situation, and it's the
Both.
one the guy used it for in Vegas because he was a shitbag.
yes.
All right, so I'm off that one now. I was just curious if that's that because that's what made sense in my mind was the constant rotation became the trigger at that point. So one
Yeah,
motion.
It's
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
motion. Yeah.
So I figured that out. That
so-
other one we were talking about.
Casey,
yes.
is F1 going to be interesting at all?
Yes, it will be.
Are you sure?
I'm very positive. All of the news in between is very exciting.
Yeah?
Nothing else is though. I watched that race and it was
Dude, was it exactly what I told you?
it's over by the lap 2.
Yeah.
Legitimately by lap 2, I think Max already had like a 4-second lead.
And you're like,
And
oh.
You're just like, oh, okay.
This is that kind of race.
Nothing has changed. Even did you see the Martin Brundle Clarkson interview?
No, was that good?
Martin Brundle does his pit lane walk as usual, and he tries to corral people.
Yeah.
He bumped into Jeremy Clarkson,
Okay.
and Clarkson was like, I was watching the times from last year and this year, and honestly, I don't think anyone's done anything. It's like, the McLarens might be better, but they wouldn't have showed it at this race because for whatever reason, when they first show up, they don't know what to do. So
Yeah,
he was
they're
like,
completely lost.
he's like, and they're like, well, who's gonna win who's gonna win the championship? He's like, Adrian Newey.
Yeah.
No, it was it was over. The middle field stuff was fun.
Yeah, everything in between was a blast.
This is
Isn't
the
that
same.
how it always is?
This year more than last. Well, last year was really the big. It's never been as good as like 2000.
What? Dude,
12.
Carlos Sainz is clearly in the land of no fucks given.
Oh, Carlos Sainz doesn't give a shit, dude. I thought those guys were gonna crash a couple of times.
Right?
Because clearly Charles was like, "Oh, I am the #1 Ferrari driver. I'm going to drive." And Carlos Sainz like, "Move, bitch, get out the way."
Yeah.
I'm trying to show I can still drive.
Did you hear Yuki over the radio talking about fucking Danny Rick? He's like, he's not even fast.
Yeah. He was just like, "What the fuck? This is stupid." It's like, "You ruined my race." And in my head, I'm like, "No, Yuki, you ruined your race." I'm like, if you had put your head down and shaved a second off your lap time, they wouldn't have said moved out the way.
Yeah.
But you were driving like a shitbag. So what did you expect they were gonna do? Like, come on, man. You're lucky that they had such a shitty driver last year to fire. Otherwise, they would have fired your ass and put Danny Rick in your seat.
Dude, I mean, parts of it were entertaining, right? But I would have turned the channel if I hadn't been on a bike pedaling too far away from the computer.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna watch this because that's what I do, but I was not really paying attention. The pit lane fiasco was pretty shitty for Valtteri Bottas. Mm-hmm. He pulled in, and that wheel gun was like, nope.
Dude, that guy has the worst luck with wheel guns.
And wheel nuts. And
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
Did
and
you catch that? Valtteri Bottas unofficially holds the record for the longest pit stop.
Yes, he
I
does.
believe it was a day and a half.
Yes. Yeah, technically, yes. It's rough, man. It's just rough. Like middle field, good stuff. Again, if you eliminate the top 2 guys, Formula One would be really fucking interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
know.
Ferrari's going to put it together.
No, and that.
I read an article. They're like, well, none of the other cars had a clean race. I'm like, yeah, but none of the other cars have clean races. That's their thing.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Lewis is happy. He's also in drive I don't give a shit mode, but he did different setup than George. Like, you know, they went different to see what the car can do.
Yeah.
But they were already talking about it during practice 2, I think it was. Jensen Button was basically like, yeah, I mean, once the middle of the season happens and those questions start coming about from the engineers about how to fix the next car, all that's going to fall on George, and Lewis is basically going to be out if he's not already out of those conversations. Mm-hmm. You know, because they'll rely on him for race day stuff for sure, like setting up the car.
Well, they'll rely on him
P1.
for what he's offering. They're not going to
Yeah.
give anything back.
No, they're not going to do shit.
They're like upgrades.
What upgrade?
Upgrades. Yeah.
We're talking about upgrades. You'll get them when we print them, son. George, they'll be like, George, we overnighted this part for you, so make it count. You know.
Yeah. It just wasn't much of a race. I mean, that dude. At no point was it competitive.
No, it was. Seriously, it's by lap 2. Lap
Yeah.
2, Max is already 3 ahead, and just it doesn't even look like he's trying.
No, as soon as he started to separate, like it was close for about 3 turns.
Yeah,
And then he started to separate, and you're like, oh, there he goes.
yeah.
He's just on a Sunday drive.
He is driving Miss Daisy right now for sure. But here's the thing: as long as Carlos Sainz can stay close to him with his no fucks given attitude, he will definitely run Max off the road.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what we're hoping?
I thoroughly expect Lewis would do the same thing.
Do we have any idea where Sainz is going to go next year?
No,
Okay.
no. This is the first year, I think, ever that the teams have not had a different driver. Every driver stayed put. Nobody moved. Nobody. Went
That's
anywhere else.
only half right.
Well, because of Danny Rick.
Well, and because of Liam Lawson.
Well, yeah, but that was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because Danny Rick got hurt.
Well, yeah, but he's still like.
But they didn't replace Danny Rick.
I don't think they should have replaced Danny Rick. I
No.
think they should replace Yuki.
They're definitely replacing Yuki. Think about probably, I think it's Spa, I think, is the middle.
Yeah.
I think by Spa, if Liam Lawson's not in the car, I'd be really surprised
Yeah.
because I think he's got to be there.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yes.
We lost Will.
Bathroom.
He went to the bathroom.
New World.
Nope.
It's not the Dorado?
It's not the Dorado.
Has
but-
Will lit his mystery cigar up yet?
No.
No, not yet. Not yet. We're waiting for him to
Dude,
light
I
it up.
shouldn't have lit this Guardian of the Farm. I didn't know I had a mystery cigar.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to start with a bigger boy, so I gave you a Guardian of the Farm.
Yeah.
You know, I was trying to cover all the bases.
Well, because I've got a lot of cigars to smoke. We got the review cigar.
Get to puffing.
Smells good.
It's good. I like it.
We've had these, though. I know it's a mystery, but we've had them.
Yes.
That was just...
the 2 you guys have. We've had for a while. Will has the new one. Oh,
I muted you.
hang on. What's
Oh,
that?
did you mute me?
Just in case you bumped it.
Oh, I got to cut it. You know what? I'm going to hold off on this guy. I want to finish the Guardian of the Farm. I don't want to split it.
That's fair. That's
Hey,
fair.
It is a good cigar, so I mean...
Guardian of the Farm is good. I figured you'd want that. To
You know what? I'm
start
just going to leave it out of the coffin. I don't want to scrape it putting it back in.
So my mystery cigar that you've provided for me,
Yes.
it is in the humidor.
Yes.
It is one of
But it's new.
so it's an Anagorsa.
No.
Don't give him hints. Just let him smoke the thing.
Smoke it.
Yeah, you didn't give me any hints.
Here, let me help you. Smoke.
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 I wanted to actually smoke it another different time.
Like, I apologize if you don't like this cigar. I smoked one, and I thought of you.
yes.
Like 3 puffs in, I was like,
Oh.
we can't let Will smoke these.
Will smoke the whole box.
Yeah.
This is the kind of cigar we think it is, Will.
Yeah.
You are gonna love that cigar.
So it's a Nicaraguan, huh?
And
Tis Nicaraguan.
Tis indeed Nicaraguan.
I don't think it's that.
There's nothing else, right? Or is there another?
No, I believe it's Nicapuro,
Okay.
as Will dies. Casey,
Yep.
is it Nicapuro? I didn't even look.
Yes, it is a Nicapuro. As it should be.
My only guess I can see, but it doesn't look the same.
Kevin
Rocky
is-
It's
Patel.
not for... Knock it off.
What?
Let him smoke it.
I'm for mine.
Oh,
No,
yours.
he's trying to guess his
God.
now.
Oh, I think I know what his is.
I don't guess his.
Does his start with a B, Casey?
A B?
Yeah.
No,
Yes,
it's not a
yes, it
bahiki.
does.
What's that?
It does start with a B.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not a bahiki.
Not yours is not a Bahiki, no.
No, we're
I would-
talking about me.
I would never give a Bahiki to anybody but my worst enemies.
Oh, I tried to get Casey one of those $300 Cuban Cohiba Anniversario things, but the guy at the party that we had in here on Thursday, the one guy who had him didn't come in.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Was that?
I was
Kevin and
I
them,
was
or-
gonna watch Casey
James.
hide disappointment while smoking a cigar that cost $300 in front of the guy that gave it to him.
I know how to lie to the best of them.
Yeah,
I would have been like, oh, this is fantastic.
this as put in The Godfather would have required all of your skill.
Yeah, it would have.
and all of your talent.
It would have definitely, yeah, I would have been very surprised. I would have been like, oh, this is good. I've never had a cigar like this before.
So it took me 2 hours to get to North Star today.
It took me longer than it should. You know, I know we say this every winter.
drivers.
If you can't drive in the snow, if you don't live in a snow mountain area,
Don't come up here.
don't fucking drive. Get off the fucking road and
dude.
stay wherever the hell you are, because you drive like shit.
Dude, we passed that road sign a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
I told him
So-
today when I came up. It was a Porsche Cayenne. Stomped on its brakes.
yeah.
Had its hazard lights on, and then
Yeah.
hooked the left.
Fast
and
and
I wasn't sure he was going to make
Furious.
it, and I did not have enough time to hit my brakes. He made it though.
I went so slow. Like no point did I have to hit my brakes going up to incline. Coming back, I had a straight shot on 28. Now, mind you, I didn't know this. The further north you go on the shore of Lake Tahoe, the worse they get at removing snow.
Oh, I believe that.
28 was a snow-covered 4x
Isn't that
trail. There were
California?
whoops, and like at one point I de-weighted my car enough that the stuff in the back of my car jumped. I'm
Oh.
like, sweet.
Nice.
It was only about a lane and a half wide. At some point, there was a truck throwing a big ass trailer going the other direction, and I had to go like onto the soft stuff. Car got a little sideways, started drifting at some. And the guy in the truck was probably freaking out the whole time.
Wow.
But we finally got enough snow that I got to let the car loose a little bit and get like that's what I need to get comfortable driving in the snow. It's like, oh, I remember how to do all of this.
Right? It all comes back.
So
But that was a lot of fun coming back.
this storm has really brought out all of the new plow drivers that we have in town. And I swear to God, every single plow driver that's in town is new.
Yeah.
Because they left after last year.
Oh, man.
So last night, I left here at like, I don't know, 11:15, 11:20-ish. Now so I live in a big complex. There are no assigned parking spots. The general rule is don't park in a shoveled space if your ass didn't shovel a space, right? These are the rules.
Yes.
Now, I kind of knew this was going to happen, but I was hoping against hope that I didn't live amongst lazy twits.
You do.
Yeah,
I
you
do.
Yeah.
So I got home. Now, I shoveled a space yesterday before I left.
Okay.
Not that much snow fell between the time that I left and the time that I got back. Maybe 6 inches. And I got home, and I had to shovel a couple of feet out of a parking space until like 12:40 in the morning, so I had a place to park. Like, you all...
Well, we talked about this. You hate NPCs.
Yes, me and bench warmers don't get along.
Yes.
That's right.
I was trying to remember the name of it. I'm like, you know what? I know. I just call it an NPC.
They
That's what
both
they
work.
Are.
They both work.
The third string guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Third string.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
They're just there to
I'm at a
fill.
loss. MPC.
Non-player character.
It's a...
It means they
It's a
add
gaming
nothing
thing.
to really.
Yeah.
It's a gaming thing.
In,
Yeah.
in video games, you play a character,
So-
right?
yeah.
And then usually you need a quest or something to further the story along. And so you go and find an NPC who has a quest to give you. And that guy, all his only thing is to say like 6 lines, give you the quest, and then give you the reward. Every time you come back to him, he doesn't change what he says. He just says the same 6 lines over and over and over again.
Or you have an NPC that does something that causes a quest, like taking your spot, causing you to dig.
Yes.
Yes.
I had a quest when I returned home
And
from
you
work
got
last night.
your reward was you had a parking space.
You drove home
so-
and new quest unlocked.
I put in my earbuds and was like, no one had better walk out here and say
Just
something about
angry.
me shoveling right now. Like, no one. I want no part of the human
Human
population
contact, yes.
at this moment.
So we that used to happen to me in my complex,
Yeah.
and I resorted to using an orange cone.
Well, don't you guys have assigned parking?
Yes. But when the snow flies, the number is covered, and people think that they can just park fucking anywhere.
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
So that's why I resorted to using an orange cone.
Oh, dude, I got home last night. I was looking at cars that had backed into 2 pristine spots, taking up both of them because they don't know what they're doing. And I'm just like, I'm just going to shovel. I can't, like, I have to stay balanced because I have to go to sleep because I have to get up at 6 in the morning. Like, I have to get up in
You don't want to
less
wake up
than
angry.
6 hours, almost 5. Like, just shuffle. Like, dude, full on Seinfeld. Serenity now. Like,
I spent the last 2 days shoveling, starting at 4 a.m. at work, and then I went until about 10.
They don't have
and-
snow blowers?
Well, at night I'm not allowed to use them.
Fuck that.
You know
And
what? You know what, Lane? Based upon your last comment about the people backing in, not knowing what the shit they're doing, you know what I would figure they would do? They would have the cone in between the 2 cars.
Oh, yes.
They would back in, and that cone would just be sitting in between the 2 front ends of the car.
yeah, I could see that.
Conveniently,
For sure.
somebody marked the line for us, so now we know where to park. How thoughtful they are.
I was so bitter.
Oh,
And I had a pretty good night last night.
And you should be.
I had some great people in here, poured them some whiskey. Like, it was a good time. And,
Nice.
and then 2 nights back, we had Court's party, which was fantastic. Like, not many of them showed up, but listen, I got to catch up with him.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him in almost a year. Like, that was great.
Oh, wow.
Court.
And we had a 24-hour Le Mans winner in here with him because he's a race car driver. Turns out he knows better race car drivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that guy's name is Davy Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I looked him
That's
up. He
awesome.
won the 96 24-hour of Le Mans.
I totally Googled him too while I was
Yeah.
sitting here. I was like, son of a
Davy Jones.
bitch.
Did you get the guy from the Monkeys? The Davy Jones from the Monkeys on your search?
No.
Yeah. There's
No,
Da-
because he tagged race car probably, or driver.
I actually went through. I just searched Le Mans winners.
Oh, okay.
And then when Court called him Davy, I was like, okay, that's his name. Let me just go down the list and look for the first Davy that's from America, and it was Davy Jones. And I looked at the picture, I'm all, that's totally the dude right there.
Yeah, he also took second at Indy,
Yep.
and he raced stock car.
Yeah,
Nice.
he did. He had a plethora of very interesting driving under his belt.
Oh, good.
Super friendly guy.
He was really cool. He was funny.
What
He
year?
threatened. So, Al Unser Jr. hit Court in a race, or hit.
Davy Jones?
Hit Court in a race.
Oh, okay.
Al Unser Jr. and Davy Jones know each other. He pulls out his phone and he's like, "Do you want me to call him and harass him?" And it's like 1 in the morning, so it's like 4 in the morning where he lives. He's like, I'll do it. And his wife's like, "Don't call Al. Like, that's mean." Yeah. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
What
I
year?
wish I was here for
what
that.
year was that Le Mans win by Davy Jones?
96.
1996.
Yeah.
26.
Hey, you know what that means? He means he lives forever. You podium at Le Mans, you live forever.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
I mean, that was super cool having those guys in.
Was it
Yeah, it
just
was
a
cool.
podium or was it a first?
That's first place.
It was a first
first
place.
place.
Yeah.
Which is not easy.
Court
No,
and I
not in
talked
Le
until
Mans.
like 1:30 in the morning.
I would have stayed. I just wanted to get through that snowstorm.
No, that's fair. And I didn't want to,
Yeah.
like, that was a thing for me. I didn't want you to have to stick around for no reason.
And it was fun driving home that night. Let me tell you what.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
There have been some fun driving nights.
The road disappeared right after Cave Rock, and it didn't show up till I got back to Carson. I was just guessing where I was driving. I'm like, okay.
When it happens like that, I look for those that noisemaker, the rumble strip,
I found that a couple times.
and I just ride that at that
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I was like, oh, too far over now. I don't want to get sideswiped by someone. Let's just go back to the other side.
Find the other one.
And then I'm like, oh, there's a berm, I think. I don't know what that is.
Dude, one of my servers drove like 10 miles down I-80 with his lights off. It was snowing so hard.
I believe that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you're like, oh, hyperspace is cool. Fuck this. I'm just turning my lights off. I can see easier.
We're going for it.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the fog.
I did find the only snow condition that trips me out.
What's that?
What's that?
I was driving back the other day, a couple days ago, 3 days ago now, and the speed of the snow coming at me was perfect to make it feel like I was standing still.
Whoa.
Like it matched. It was like the coefficient speed, whatever that is, that
Yeah.
optical illusion is.
Yeah.
Until you look sideways and look at the side of the road, it doesn't feel like you're moving, and that trips me out.
No.
That's, yeah. No, that's.
I've experienced that as well.
Yeah, that's the one I'm like,
It's-
oh, I
But
don't
it's-
like this.
But at the same time, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is when not when
You know
you're,
my
not when
fa-
you're in the middle of a highway.
My favorite part about a snowstorm, especially when the wind dies down, is how quiet it is. Because
Oh, yeah.
the snow dampens all the sound from everywhere else.
You're just like, oh, this is how it should be.
I love that part of a snowstorm.
Like when it's quiet outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're standing out there, it's kind of eerie though.
Casey or Will, did you light up that cigar?
I did.
What do you think of it?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the minute I fired it up and I go, oh, this is familiar. It seems like have I smoked this
So
before?
to be fair, you've smoked it in a larger size.
You have smoked the bigger version.
I like that size much better.
It tastes a lot better in a Corona.
Can't be a 9. It's definitely not a 9.
It is not a 9, but I
No.
would say that it is tangentially related to the 9.
Comparable, right?
Well, it is. In other words, it is illegal.
It's-
Liga.
It is not a Liga.
Not
is
a
not
Liga,
a Liga.
But it's like the Nine's funny cousin.
Can I tell him what
It's
it
a
is,
Padron.
Casey?
Is this a Padron?
No, it's not a Padron.
Casey, can I tell him
Yeah,
what
you
it
can
is?
tell what it is.
So that's the Papa Con. That's the smaller
Oh, no
of the
shit.
Saka Con, yeah.
Surprise.
I like. Yeah, yeah. This is the Popcorn.
Yes.
That impressed the hell out of me.
This is
Yeah.
nice. I mean,
But a little, you can ask him. I was like 4 puffs in. I was like, Will
Yeah.
can't smoke
Oh.
these.
And then I was behind, so I was like, "What? I'm gonna light this." And as soon as I lit it, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna have to hide that box because that's good." Although in all fairness, I probably have to hide it from you too. So that's
From me?
when did this come
yes,
in?
from you.
Yeah,
When-
mostly because of the size.
When
yes.
did this come in?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. So I wasn't here for its inauguration.
No.
Dude, you know what Court fell in love with? I mean, you were here.
The Sobra Mesa Brulee.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's a good cigar.
Listen, for Connecticut, it really is. It's a good smoke.
It's just creamy and tasty and smooth. And
He doesn't really have a cigar palate. He has an exceptional wine palate.
Court was the guy that you worked with at that other casino.
Yeah, he was the owner that got bought out.
Fandango.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin.
To this day, the single best casino operator I've ever met.
I can believe it.
and just a really friendly guy.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
finally met him. What did you
Yeah,
think of him,
he-
Casey?
He was a really cool dude.
Like, he's just a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Huh.
when did you start working here at Mont Bleu?
2013, I started in security, 3 months in security, and then 2014 February
Okay.
up there in surveillance.
I don't know why I wanted to know that. I had a thought earlier today, and I can't tie it together.
Would I ever come back here? No.
No, I know that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I kind of never want to work in a casino again, to tell you the truth.
Dude, every time I don't realize it when I'm working in casinos. I don't realize it until I leave casinos for a little bit, and I try to explain casinos to normies.
Normies.
I stole it from Will for sure.
You're not wrong.
But the
Normies.
experience of working in a casino is so much different than anything else you'll ever do. Like, it's
bet.
its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try to explain just how ludicrous the jobs get to someone who's never had to go through the ridiculous requests that they make of you in casinos. The words are coming out of your mouth, and you're realizing as you're saying them how stupid it is that you actually had to do that. Yeah.
And yet you keep going back. Well, you're not in a
you
casino
keep going.
anymore.
My
so yeah.
problem with casinos is that I'm really good at it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good at surveillance, but
That's what we call a curse.
But
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not that you're really good at just casinos. You're really good in the food and beverage.
You're good at everything.
Arena.
As long as it matters to you and you're doing it, you're gonna put in as much effort as.
There is one thing
Needs.
Lane's not good at.
Oh, there's more than one.
Yes,
But
but
I'm curious what you're thinking of.
I can tell you what it is.
Not going to the gym.
Picking cigars for Jeff.
Well, that's one of them for sure. I don't know why he's your kryptonite, but it's really funny to watch. Pickleball.
He'll never play
Lane
that.
is terrible at pickleball. If anyone ever wants to challenge
You
him,
actually
right
played
now-
it?
I've never played it.
I was gonna say.
I'm sure I would be terrible.
that game is too slow for you. You wouldn't be able to do it.
Would you do curling?
I would 100% try
In a
curling.
fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
That is the coolest thing ever.
No, I like it. but
That's America's
I didn't-
game.
I
There's
didn't
a-
know
figure
if-
it out.
There's a guy at my gym who's on the Norwegian curling team.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That's interesting. That's funny.
That's good. So
Of course,
every
it's a
4
no-
years, you could tell them that Norway sucks.
Hey, I'm part Norwegian. You knock it off.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that what
but-
Hagen?
That's the part that isn't good at certain things.
Oh, someone's about to get punched in the face.
Nah,
Put
too
the camera on you so we get it on film.
I'm sure that's the part that doesn't like people.
probably.
The people from Norway.
Well, I mean, it's tough, right? So there's part of me, there's like part of my lineage likes some people, part of my lineage likes anybody that's drunk, and part of my lineage is like, we're going to conquer you and take your women.
Yeah. Yes.
Rape, pillage, and plunder.
The spice must flow.
Right? No, I'm well, and then I don't know what the fourth one is. So I'm Irish, English, German, and Norwegian.
Oh, okay.
Like pretty much just Northern Europe.
I'm Heinz 57. I'm everything.
There's a fifth one?
No, that's the four.
Oh, okay.
I will say a certain part of my family has been in this country for a very, very, very long time.
Was that
Prior to revolution?
1612, he came to this country as an indentured servant.
1612?
Wow.
Wow. What were we doing in 1612?
That's an American.
He was brought over for the repopulation of Jamestown.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. He'd like part of my family's been in this country a really long time. Anyway.
So
what else?
how long were the Brits here prior to our revolution?
I mean, the original Jamestown settlement was like
1614 is when he came over here. So shortly after that,
1612.
1612.
So before that, the first population, the first settlement of Jamestown just disappeared off the map.
They have no idea where they went.
And it was
either.
like
that the-
1608 is when they disappeared. I don't know how old the colony was, but it was probably only a few years old.
Okay.
So like very late 1500s, very early 1600s.
Is it the Croatoa thing?
Maybe.
The town that was completely empty. The only thing left was the word Croatoa in the trees,
It might be.
and no one to this day knows what the hell happened to them. They were just gone.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah, when they showed up to Jamestown, it was just empty.
Yeah.
They don't know what happened.
aliens.
That's alien.
And then one of my relatives showed up on a boat, and they're like, "You're going to live there."
And he's like, crap.
Welcome to America. Do we have a place for you? Come on down.
Yeah.
Sure, everybody disappeared, but you'll be
You
repopulating
You
it.
strike me as a man who needs a horse. Do you need a horse? Come on down. We've got some for free.
So much for history. I like this cigar.
I thought you would.
I really like
we
this
we
cigar.
knew the moment we smoked it. We're
The
like,
flavor in the Corona size is so much better than that massive thing that he produces.
the 7x52 or whatever.
I think it's bigger around than that, isn't it?
56.
But I haven't smoked a Popacon before.
Didn't you smoke the big
The SakaCon?
Sakakon?
The Sakakon.
Yeah, he smoked
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no,
They're
none of
the
us.
Same.
No, until Thursday, none of us had smoked that cigar.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the first time we were able to get it
Yeah.
because we didn't get in on the first order.
But it's the same brand. It's the
No, I know it's the
Yeah.
same maker.
yeah.
No, it's the same label. It's a
Same-
black Carita
it's
in a
black
different
Carita,
size.
That black and silver label Carita.
Oh, this is a black Carita.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I have smoked one of those,
but not in that
Yeah, you
size.
smoked the big boy.
but not in this size.
Not
Yeah, you
that
smoked the
size.
I
SakaCon.
the bigger one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that got a bunch of people cigar of the year. That and the Krakatoa,
I know why.
right?
I don't, so.
No,
What
yeah.
else is going on in the world? What do we need to talk about?
Me and you were talking back and forth
Yeah,
on
you
that
guys
one
were
thing.
talking
Yeah,
about.
you guys had a.
Oh, the sustainable inequity thing.
Yeah.
So all right, I don't know where I fall on this, right? Because it sounds so good, like it's so tempting,
It sounds good, but
and then you realize it's just kind of a veiled argument for Marxism,
it doesn't sound feasible.
which is also my problem with equity versus equality, right?
Right.
The way they define it, and the whole Jordan Peterson red pill thing, whatever. But there is some substance to that, like equality, like equal opportunity is one thing, but equality of outcome is just a veiled Marxist argument. Now that said, I think we need to get closer to that argument than we are now. So this is the best I can, in my head, this is the best I'm able to rationalize how I feel. Because I feel like the wage gap and the underprivileged need more. But I don't feel like you can take everybody and say they're going to get the same thing. So we have to define, as a population, a minimum threshold of stuff.
Like sustainable livability.
And it's not poverty. It's got to be above poverty. Like, yeah, sustainable livability. Like, this is the minimum. And then we have to work to get everybody above that minimum threshold. And then beyond that, capitalism and competition becomes a thing. Because there are going to be some people that are perfectly happy with that, right? But you can't take the desire to grow away from everybody, which is what Marxism does, because that ends terribly, literally every time. Like,
So-
in the end, to get people to work, you're holding them at gunpoint because they're only going to work for a fixed amount. They will never get more than that.
Right. So are you saying we need to figure out beyond food, shelter, and clothing?
Yeah, I think we need to figure out what the minimum threshold is to be competitive in the world. Like, so that if you want to be competitive, you can. And if you don't, F it.
You can
But
stay
whatever
comfortable.
that minimum threshold is, it's not about poverty. It's about what is the minimum amount you need
Right.
every year of housing and clothes and food and school
To be comfortable?
to compete in this country.
Oh.
It's not even comfort.
Comfort, okay.
It's where can we get you that you are competitive with everyone else if you choose to be? Because a lot of people won't choose to be.
Right.
Right.
But then we don't pull the hope away from the people that do want to be competitive for like being Elon Musk 10 years down the road.
Yeah, because he's. What I said was to take away money from billionaires and all that. They're the guys that create the companies or have the companies that supply the jobs for us already.
Yeah,
right?
and listen, I think the wage gap is far larger than it should be.
Well, yeah.
And I think the difference between the richest and the poorest is absolutely ludicrous. Now, that said, you can't diminish achievement. Like, that's what Marxism does. That's what equity does. You can't diminish achievement to the point where no one cares. Because then, to force production, you have to use force against the population. It's the only way to do it, and it's happened every time.
Right.
That's the closest I can get to an answer. I thought about it a lot because I listened to that whole podcast. And
I did too.
And at first, it's like, okay, I'm with you, and then you're like, no, that's not going to work. No, that's not going to work. That's a terrible idea. Like, what did you think?
Well, through the whole podcast, I was listening and like I was hearing tidbits that I'm like, I don't understand this. And then like it got to the point where I was asking you those questions. I'm like, well, how would this work? Because at some point, you're going to cause people not to be motivated to do anything.
Yes, and that's where Marxism ends up.
Yeah.
It just is.
And that's what I was saying. So I didn't see it as being feasible.
Yeah. I think that we need to focus on the best answer I have is competitiveness. We need to put everybody in a position where they can be competitive in our economic world. And then what they choose to do with that is on them.
Well, and
So
give them a
as for-
chance.
But here's the thing. Some people are going to go, forget it. I don't want to participate.
Which is fine.
Yeah, but they still get to eat.
Yeah, they're not struggling.
And
yeah,
live.
they'll be comfortable at that point.
Right? They still get to buy a couple of toys every year. Like, you can't take that. Like, there has to be a minimum threshold where everyone can be useful if they want to be.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
But that's as close as I can get to Marxism. Everything beyond that just crushes the spirit.
Well, yeah. And that's what communism, socialism does.
Well, that's Marxism, yeah.
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 It only works if you don't mind who's in charge.
Oh, no. That's also true.
Right.
But it's so much more than that. It doesn't work, is the problem.
Well, yeah.
Because you have the people that want to go achieve things, that want to go do things and build new things and make a lot of money and own the $50 million home at Park City. And if you take that away from people, you just crush ingenuity and creativity
And
and,
growth.
culture. Yeah, and growth. Like, we're still in a place, now this country lives in a place of massive geographic convenience, right? We have all the resources, practically no threats. But that said, we still live in a world where people fight for resources.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you take away that competitive nature from everyone, the ability to fight for resources just dies.
But isn't that like pulling the pin on capitalism?
What do you mean? How?
So if you take that competitiveness away, I mean, for bigger, better, more money situation, if you take away that competitiveness, it kind of like crushes the idea of capitalism. You work for what you get, and you know.
Well, you can work for what you get. That's fine. Our problem is that the people who make a lot and
Yeah.
who have
Oh,
it, they start playing those silly games where all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I don't have to pay taxes. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that." And what we need really is a system that says, "Yeah, actually you do, because your taxes, you make a lot more than, say, a certain few towns in certain states."
30% of
Yeah,
the
yeah, you can afford to pay the taxes, whereas when people who are barely scraping by have to pay 30% of their wages, that puts them under the poverty line. Like, nobody in this country should be under the poverty line. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
If we're the strongest and most powerful country in the world,
and we can't take care.
we
of
can't
our-
take care of the people outside because we don't want to, because people have tax breaks.
And
Forget that.
And it's really fucked off. Is we're sending money to as foreign aid.
Well,
And
we
can't-
talked about
and we
foreign
can't
aid,
take,
which is
and we
fine.
can't take care of our own.
Well,
Well-
no, we could.
I guess my contention is we could do both.
Well, yeah, we
think
can,
we can do both?
We
Yes.
can,
Yeah,
most definitely. We can send
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals to people who need pharmaceuticals. We can supply armament and tanks and bullets and people wherever you need it. Like, we can donate blood. We can do anything you want foreign aid wise. But when the guy on the street who, for a reference,
has done his best.
yeah, he did his best, and he can barely get by, doesn't get a meal 3 days of the week, and you can walk around in your 3 Teslas and you go, "Oh yeah, I bought that 4th Tesla because I got a tax break on it. I didn't even pay for it." Like, that makes me sick.
Well,
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Well,
I think there's a lot of billionaires out there. Okay, so I talk about bench warmers, right? There's a lot of billionaires that are bench warmers.
yes.
There's a lot of billionaires that just start working in finance. Basically, they just start leveraging what they have to have more.
Yeah.
I don't think Warren Buffett does that. I think Warren Buffett invests in companies to prop up good companies.
Yes.
Right? He's looking at actual value as opposed to, say, Icon, who's a complete itbag,
Yes.
who buys into companies to tear them apart to make them look good on paper. Meanwhile, he's destroying the infrastructure, the labor force, everything that company was built on, so he can sell it for more money even though the company's worse.
Yeah. Like, that's ridiculous.
Like, that's just a dude playing defense with his money. That dude has no business in our economy.
Yeah, it's the 1% that need to be taxed more, and they hate hearing that. But again, if you're making $500 million, you can't afford 15% of that to pay taxes.
Weren't they saying it's like 1% that makes up majority of the capital that we have?
But I can.
Oh, yeah, the wealth distribution.
Yes.
Is ridiculous.
But I can hear. So I can hear the billionaires or the conservatives going, "Well, why should I have to do that? Why should I have to pay 15%?"
Because you still have to contribute to the society that you're taking advantage of.
Yeah, it turns out you not only are you providing jobs for people, but you're also trying to be a citizen.
No, I get the points that you guys are making, but I can hear the other side. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
why would I do
necessarily
that?
the other side. It's just the conservative side.
Yes, and because they want to keep their money.
Right.
But your tax advantage or your tax burden should be proportionate to your economic advantage.
Okay.
That's how you create a blind progressive tax system. And a progressive tax system is really the only one that's ever worked. This is why they're like people that are like, "Oh, what we need is a flat tax." No, flat tax is regressive. You end up overtaxing the poor.
Yep.
Well, we need a national sales tax, also regressive. You end up just overtaxing the poor because the poor, as a percentage of their income, buy far more than the wealthy.
Oh wow, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean-
well, they can't buy more than the wealthy.
No, as a percentage of their income, they do.
Like,
Oh, as
yeah.
a percentage
They're
of their
spending
income, sure. Yeah.
96 to 105% of what they make every year. where a billionaire is spending 1/4 of 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Maybe.
afford taxes.
And a lot of that's just reinvestment in other businesses.
Right. To get that tax break.
I mean, I think we need to listen. VCs get a huge tax break that I don't think they should get. There's a bunch of investment tax breaks that I think need to go away. I don't know that the corporate tax rate needs to be a whole lot higher. Our effective corporate tax rate is not entirely deficient to the rest of the world. It probably should be a little bit higher, but not massively higher.
Yeah.
But you guys also know that like everything in healthcare should be regulated because
Yeah.
they're just scam artists.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the only thing that should be social in our country. That and not the only thing, but education should be as well, right?
So
I think we talked about that.
I don't know that education should be. I think education funding probably should be. I don't know that national control over our education is better than local control. I would need to see a lot of data one way or the other to convince me.
Okay. What? So funding wise, if they made it to where everybody can get a bachelor's degree, would that be more?
Okay,
I don't know if that would work.
all things being equal, I would say that's valuable. But I think we have to start earlier than that.
But
like
that's valuable to you.
Well, no. But I think, listen, if our education system, if our primary education system was on par with the rest of the world at this point, then I would say yes. Let's put ourselves in a place where everyone get a bachelor's degree. But we're not
But
there.
we're not even
Yeah.
close.
Our
No.
elementary, middle, high school education system is in shambles.
Yeah, it
we
needs
need to
rework.
start at the beginning.
Speaking of education, what do you guys think about having part of the curriculum being firearms awareness, safety, functioning, cleaning?
No, I don't want that
No.
in school.
No, that shouldn't be in
That's
school.
something you should learn from your parents, your older brother, your cousin, your uncle.
Or,
right.
or take a
It
class.
shouldn't be a part of. You don't think
No,
it should be a part?
I'm
No.
not a huge fan of the laws that say everyone should own a gun.
Yeah, that's a little too close to
I
conscription.
want to own guns. I don't want to force them on other people. If they bother
okay.
you, if you don't want them around in your house, fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like
But-
you're not going to take mine, but I don't want to see other people. I don't want to force that on other people. I mean, I think that's silly. I think that's as silly as, we should have armed guards in schools. No, we should create a culture in school where they're completely unnecessary.
Yes.
Right.
Because that's not what school is about. School is about learning and discussion and discovery. It's not about the guy on the corner is in a uniform with a gun to protect me. It shouldn't even be necessary.
This is true.
Even though it shouldn't be necessary, isn't it? To a certain degree.
Right now, it is.
I mean, going that direction.
Yeah,
'cause
but we did that.
That's the culture we've allowed.
We created a bunch of kids that are as evil as parents. They're as evil as adults. It's been going on since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are mean.
see,
Yep.
that was not my experience until I got into my later years of high school.
Oh, that was my experience.
I was always getting into fights because I was easy to pick on. I had the high pitched voice. I was skinny, easy to pick on. I'm a nerd.
But remember, I'm going to school, 10, 20 years before you guys, are
Yeah.
being born. I mean, I had finished high school by the time you were born, Lane.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
I mean,
I just don't. I think schools need to be completely reevaluated.
well, they need to be, it needs to be reorganized. And to get things that are of value in society today. I mean, granted, English, writing, arithmetic, those things are definitely necessary. But there's other courses, even at high school level, that don't grow the human being.
Well, I feel like if we did add anything, it should be things that would be useful, kind of like knowing how to balance your budget and all that.
Right, but that's only gonna-
a
that-
life class is what they need.
There should be life skills. I just don't think firearms is one of them.
Yeah, I know that's not one of them.
Like
Right, I mean, yeah, there should be life skills, but I mean, how many courses can you build around not tax evasion?
A lot if you know what you're doing.
Turns out, it's
evasion.
pretty solid curriculum there, Will.
But for how long? you know, you can teach that, but it's going to take.
It's a semester
it's
course.
It's one semester.
It
It's
wouldn't
not going to
just
be.
taxes though. I
No,
mean, here's the
it'd
things
be
that here's-
balancing a
yeah,
budget. It
well,
would be-
about budgeting,
Yeah.
taxes,
Going to
how
work.
credit works, how jobs work,
Right.
You know, how to make an application. You know, why insurance is important for certain things. Like there are a bunch of fundamentals that are not taught in school.
Do you
And
think?
you learn on the fly.
If you're lucky,
Yeah, if you look, do you think that our youth, or the current youth, is so hopeless because we're not teaching these things?
I think if they're hopeless, and I don't know that they are, if they're hopeless, and I don't think that generation's the only, I think it goes all the way back to my generation, where we started awarding the score rather than the effort. Like,
Yeah, because the score is supposed to be a measure of the effort.
all of a sudden, the only thing that mattered in high school was getting, you know, a 4.6
Right.
with AP courses so you could go to whatever college.
yeah,
And then, I mean, I think bachelor's degrees have been completely devalued too.
they're basically high school diplomas.
You know, what's funny is you say AP, and my head automatically goes to Associated Press, and that, I know that's not fitting.
It's advanced placement.
Advanced placement. Thank you.
You can tell you were in any AP classes.
No, that is correct. I was not.
I took AP Environmental Science.
Although I did, you know, attend an off-site horticultural class that was tied with a business course.
There you go.
And
Those things, they're just not offered. It's, like they don't teach shop classes either anymore.
You know.
They do it
You're not
self-taught.
getting what I'm getting at.
Or is there a joke in there
Yeah,
somewhere?
there was a huge joke.
some schools still do.
But it's really going away. Like,
It
But
is,
listen, I don't know that you need it. Like, you can learn that in apprenticeship afterwards. You're going to be able to make a
True.
lot of money doing that. I do think we need to teach media arts. I think we need to teach a whole lot about computers.
oh yeah.
I mean, there are some vocations that we need to add to high school, but we also just need to add basic English and basic math back in high school.
Oh, there isn't anymore?
it's a new style of how to do math. It's called
Common Core is going away.
Common Core because
They've-
it's
they've
horrible.
Started to go back to the old school.
Because they're learning Common Core in elementaries, but by the time they get to high school, it doesn't work for what you're trying to do.
It's
And
just dumb.
most kids don't understand math at that point.
Yeah, Common Core is just terrible.
Anyway, what else is on the list tonight? Do we have to light up our review cigars?
So
It is 107, so we can.
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out this one because all I keep going back to is Bones.
Okay,
So-
Casey is
And I
at
know
the,
it's not that.
Casey is at the Bewitched.
No,
Oh,
it's not the Bewitched.
is it the Bellas Artis?
It is
Bellas
the Bellas
Artis?
Artis Maduro.
oh, yours.
See, I was having troubles. I'm like, what in there is a
there's a
B?
big poster over there somewhere, right above one of you guys.
Right above Lane, and I never looked at it.
Sitting right in front
So
of him.
back
the
to
whole time.
Snowmageddon.
You would do that to me.
You know,
All right, I'm gonna light my review cigar.
So
Me
back
too.
to Snowmageddon. This storm.
This
is
was not Snowmageddon.
No, it wasn't. But I mean,
Not like last year.
So it only produced about 5 feet of snow where I live. Okay.
Okay.
But the shoveling and the last 3 days of overcast darkness, very little sun,
tight in there.
kind of reminds me of last year's storm system. You know, I don't think did we have a storm system that ran 7 to 10 days?
Last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it 20 days?
It was 6.5 weeks.
That's where
Oh,
we
was-
got our 2 feet from down there.
Was that? Didn't it snow every day in February?
I believe it did. Yeah.
think
last
so,
week?
yeah.
Is that what that was last year?
Every day in February it was either cloudy or snowing.
Yeah.
All right. For anyone curious,
But I mean, it reminded me.
when the review comes out this week, it will be of the Dunbarton Krakatoa, the Muestra de Saca Krakatoa, which has also got Cigar of the Year in a couple of places.
Yes, the newest release from good old
From
Thieves.
Aircon.
I do not want to put this Papa
Yeah, I mean, you keep
Papa
smoking
Saka
it.
down.
You can keep going, man. You
No,
keep going.
we got a review thing here.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, but
All right, fair
if you're
warning. When
enjoying
I
it-
smoked my first Krakatoa, it had not acclimatized yet, and it cracked like a mother.
These have been out for a little while, so they should be.
As soon as I pulled heat through it,
poof.
I heard 3 different cracks.
Ugh.
So we're gonna find out.
Find out.
I don't want it to do that.
I don't think any of us wanted to do that.
So I wonder how long before we get the mountain fully open again.
How much is open right now? I wasn't sure if they closed anything down or
So
it's fairly windy.
Today it got as high as Olympic on the Nevada side. Is that correct, Lane? Is that what you heard? And then
Yeah.
as high as it got on the California side was Canyon Chair.
I know they're still West Coast tomorrow.
Are they still West Coast tomorrow?
Yeah, but I would expect them to open everything tomorrow. If like assuming the wind plays along because it's going to be dying down.
Yeah.
I think they're just doing West Coast because it's going to be active in the morning.
But what's really interesting. I think as I looked at the weather report, it's not going to be bluebird skies again until Friday.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, it's just still clouds.
But I think they're going to open everything tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that case
Easy for you to say.
What case?
for F1.
Oh, the Christian Horner thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's that on about?
The Christian Horner thing.
Because like I read part of it and I wasn't really understanding if it's been there that whole time
So-
and now they're complaining.
Okay, so the Christian Horner was accused of inappropriate things somewhere, sometime. And so Red Bull, to get ahead of it, they hired a barrister?
International barrister.
Yeah, an international barrister, which I guess is just a
It's an
Third
attorney.
party?
It's an
Yeah.
international attorney.
Okay.
In this barrister's case, I believe they were also a judge.
and they went through and they investigated everything, and they came out about 2 days before Bahrain kicked off, and they said, we went through this and we're clearing Christian Horner of any misdeeds. That was it.
Well, you got to understand what misdeeds is in context for that statement.
Yes.
Because what they're not saying is that he's clean
Yes.
or moral
All right.
or
so-
not a complete
it,
D-bag.
it was kind of a gray response. It was
They're-
kind of like
what they're
well,
saying is he's not legally culpable
yes.
for anything that he did.
Exactly. But the next day, bright and early in the morning, a leaked set of emails flew out and hit.
Did you see the rumor on who that leak was from?
140, different outlets.
What was that?
Who was the?
There was a rumor that it was Verstappen's dad.
Yes, it was Jos Verstappen.
Yeah.
I did see that because they were not having a fun conversation. I think it was after the race. There's a camera dude pointing, and they're arguing, and you're like, that's kind of strange. What would they be arguing about? Like they just won. Like they're having a good ass time. Like what? And then it sounds like it might have been Yas, which that's a whole thing on its own. Like if someone inside your own party's going, hey, I don't approve of this stuff.
So I think this is a different one than what you sent. Laguna Sec.
Oh, the Laguna Seca.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Laguna
that's-
Seca.
The
yeah, no,
lawsuits.
but this is interesting. I'm willing to listen to this too.
Laguna
so
Seca is kind of boring.
yeah,
It takes about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
explain it after. But so now, a lot of the team principals have turned to the FIA, and they are like, "Hey, we want to know the details of this investigation. We want to know what was going on." And Red Bull's like, "Yeah, you don't need to know because we hired a barrister. We did it outside of the FIA. Like, they can't tell you anything."
I think effectively Red Bull went, mind your business.
Yeah, basically Red Bull's like, fuck off, don't even talk to us, like it's none of your business. The only thing is that I don't think it's necessarily going to prevent Ford from making their engine at this point, because I think Ford's already committed. But Ford also came out and they were like, we are a family company. We hold ourselves to higher values, and this is kind of something that shouldn't be happening.
As much as they didn't turn over the report to the other team principals,
I'm pretty sure Ford has the report.
I guarantee they gave it to Ford.
Yeah, Ford has a report for sure, 100%.
They're like, do you know how much money we're giving you? And they went, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, here it is. Here's the report. Read through it. No, it's a really odd, because the whole thing was odd because it's been going on for 2 weeks, and Red Bull they showed up to preseason testing like business was normal. Like they showed off their car, business was normal. Christian Horner's just been walking around. Like he hasn't really seemed to be taking it seriously. So it's really odd, like the whole thing, because you'd think if you were under investigation, you wouldn't show up.
Dude, are you looking at this guy's Grinch poncho thing?
Are you jealous? You want one?
I do not want one.
No, hell yeah.
Kevin wants one.
Kevin,
I do.
There we go. No, and I agree.
I'd wear it
I thought
here.
it was odd because I'm like, if you're under investigation, like anywhere else, they're going to be like,
I mean, my guess is what
Stay home.
happened is he turned over everything to them.
I wouldn't be surprised if he actually didn't do anything, and this is just a power play from somebody else in Red Bull, trying
Yeah.
to slander him, get him out.
I mean, he probably said, "This is what I did. Here's everything."
Yeah.
I mean, because otherwise they're not that cozy until after the report.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I sleep with a Spice Girl. Do you really think I'm gonna cheat on her? What's up? Like, come on, man. Like, he's like, get out of here with that shit. So we'll see. The Laguna Seca thing is funny though. So Laguna Seca is a very famous racetrack. And
Yes.
it's been there for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as with mostly everywhere, housing has built out into the neighborhoods surrounding Laguna Seca.
Yes. Probably touting the fact that it's so close to Laguna Seca.
One would think.
Yeah.
One would think, oh, I can buy a house near Laguna Seca. Now, Lane argued. He said, no, people are just going to move out there because the houses are cheaper. And I went, all right, that's fair too.
Yeah.
But there's a gentleman, and he started a coalition of other neighbors in his area that are complaining and filing a lawsuit for a noise complaint, and they're tired of the traffic caused by race weekend. Yes,
Should have chosen to live in a race camp.
people
but-
who live next to a racetrack are angry that there's racetrack noises and cars driving through, so they're trying to get the city to close down.
Did they not realize there was a racetrack?
I'm
or-
pretty sure it's been there since 1954.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they knew it
No,
was
no,
there.
no. This is what I told Casey: is that they bought the best house they could get. It happened to be there, but everyone who buys a house is going to try and improve the house, right? So they buy
Yeah.
it, and then as soon as they see an opportunity, they launch it to try and get rid of whatever makes their house worse, right? Because everyone's always trying to increase the value of their house. Turns out the most efficient way to do that there is to close the racetrack.
Yeah,
Yes.
That ain't gonna happen.
But Laguna Seca is not a night course. Do they have? They don't have lights, do they?
This is a noise complaint
During the day.
during the day.
Yeah, but Laguna Seca is also not a massively accessible course, so the traffic getting in and out would be a lot like the traffic getting out of Candlestick.
Yeah.
Or Oakland Coliseum.
So, improve the road. Sure.
Yeah.
Like really obvious. But so that was this one guy, and he has this vendetta against racing for some reason. That's why he's the head of it. However, the guy who lives on the other side of Laguna Seca, who specifically bought his house because he can basically just take his toys from the garage to Laguna Seca in
Right.
the same day.
Right.
He went to the other neighbors who also enjoy that privilege, and they have a counter lawsuit against this guy to try to be like, hey, this guy moved next to a racetrack. He knew exactly what he's doing. Like, this is ridiculous. Tell that guy to fuck off. So now they're looking to say, they're like, we're just going to let the courts decide.
So
we can't do
what
anything.
is the equivalent male name for Karens?
Kevin's?
Really,
Really, I hate it.
Is
It's Kevin's.
it's Kevin's? Or is it Kenneth? Or is it Ken?
I wish it wasn't Kevin's, but it's Kevin's.
It's Kevin. It's,
And the thing
hands
is-
down Kevin.
It shouldn't be Kevin's because we have Kevin Bacon. We have
What does that have to
Kevin
do with
Hart.
anything?
We have
First of all, Kevin
Listen, there-
Bacon's made some bad decisions.
lately. I mean,
Not just lately.
No.
Not just
Let me
lately.
just go down. Footloose. That was a terrible decision right there.
oh come on! This is
Actually,
one
I
of
think
his
that
best
made
movies.
him. I think that made him.
Footloose? No.
Footloose.
You know what made Kevin Bacon? Tremors.
Tremors.
I knew that was coming.
Oh God, no.
But I mean, there's so many more Kevins out there that aren't shitbags than.
No, if you really want to know, it's Eric with a K.
Oh,
Eric with a K.
Yeah, Eric with a K.
Or somebody named
That's
Todd.
That's ooh,
Every
Todd.
Todd I've ever met has been a shitbag.
Todd.
All
Yeah,
right. First
fair.
impressions on this cigar.
wait,
What?
I mean,
don't
it
we
hasn't
leave that
cracked.
for the review?
No. Just first impressions. Give a little teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser. First impressions. So far, I like it. It's not as. It has barely any pepper compared to the one that I just had.
Well, that's true for most of them Western Day
Yeah.
Sakas. They're a more aged blend, I think.
Yeah, and it's nice and smooth.
It's,
I could taste the woody notes in there from
it
the
is-
beginning.
It's woody and it's got that tea, like leaf kind of thing going
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
So-
no pepper though.
All right.
So, I like the Popicon better.
I would say Will is quickly trying to do a better French impersonation than he did last week.
That's right.
Will is like, why am I smoking this garbage? I'm going back to my original cigar.
But I have to say, it is a very nice, good cigar.
That's given the flavor profiles, it's probably not fair to go that one first.
Yeah.
into the next. That's a tough transition.
Yeah.
Casey chose wrong.
No, you didn't.
Nah, he
choose
chose a
it.
great
Don't-
cigar.
He
It was
chose.
just-
We-
No, listen. If you're gonna, he chose poorly.
yes, he chose poorly.
No ticket.
If you're gonna do it, you got to do it right.
He chose poorly. Well, I wasn't thinking about that. I'm just. You guys are quoting movies. I'm not.
He chose.
I must admit, though,
poorly.
I will smoke this down for the review and through.
Of course you will.
You're,
You don't have a
But,
choice.
but when
damn
I'm
right
done
you
with
are.
this,
You're going right back to the
I'm
pop.
going right
Yeah.
back to the.
I will tell you that this is not a cigar that smokes the same all the way through.
Oh, is that right?
There are some changes in this cigar.
We're at 20, by the way.
Okay.
I like the name Krakatoa.
Krakatoa.
Dude, the names for his Western Osaka series are fantastic.
Aren't they?
Release the Krakatoa.
Yeah. All right, an hour 20. You guys want to call it? Move on to the next thing.
Oh, are we?
that-
We're
that's a
hour
good-
20.
that's a
Yes, we
good-
are.
Time flies when you're having
Time to
fun.
go.
It
All right, who's
does.
taking us out?
All right, guys, that was another Daily Torch podcast. We were live today. We'll be live again in another week. If you guys made it this far, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. We didn't get the sandwich earlier, but hey, we got it now.
Got there
And we'll see you
eventually.
later.